reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 31 to 33, then moving into book of Proverbs, chapter 13, and then moving into wrapping it up in book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. Y'all willing. Bear with me as I try to get through this. Y'all willing. The book of Psalms, chapter 31, verse 1. In you, O Yahuwah, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Deliver me in your righteousness, meaning deliver me in what is right and what I do that's according to righteousness. Let me never be ashamed. Verse 2. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be a rock be a rock of refuge to me, a house of defense to save me. Verse 3. For you are my rock and my stronghold. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. For the name's sake. For the name's sake. David is asking to be led and guided. Verse 4. Bring me out of the net which they have hidden for me. For you are my stronghold. Verse 5. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Yahuwah, El of truth. So committing his spirit, committing his ruach, he continued to see evidence of, the awareness of us being, ruach spiritual within these fleshly beings. It says, into your hand I commit my spirit, the ruach, his ruach. You have redeemed me, O Yahuwah, El of truth. Verse 6. I have hated those who observe lying vanities, but I trust in Yahuwah. So he has hated those who observe lying vanities. So people that be, people who are interested in lies, people who are, lying themselves. David is expressing how he hated people like this, He hated people, you know, that were, you know, telling lies and listening to lies. Now, the Messiah, the only begotten Son, comes along and tells us, he pretty much teaches us to love those, love others, love enemies, love, all who we can possibly love. And, hate the evil though. Hate the evil, that will always be the enemy, is the evil itself. And we just gotta keep that in mind. Like, the evil will always be the enemy. Hate the evil, not the people. Verse 7. I exalt and rejoice in your loving commitment, for you have seen my affliction. You have known the distresses of my life. Verse 8. And you have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a large place. Verse 9. Show me favor, O Yahuwah, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. Hey man, this must be David getting up in age. Like, this is the book of Psalms. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 31. And it's yeah, David is just venting, man, and it might he might have been venting in one of in the age where he started to feel it, like, because he expressed how he's like, man, this is what he had to say. He said, show me favor, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. Verse 10, for my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my crookedness, because of his crookedness, because of his crookedness. And my bones have become old. So he's admitting it was because of his crookedness that he's feeling this way. If you notice, whenever we do something we know we had no business doing, say something we know we had no business saying that was like really wicked of us or really, really, really mean of us, you feel that guilt bring you down. That guilt will it will sit on you, it will rest on you. The guilt, the fault, the stress, the weariness, everything, everything, you'll feel it. So it's like we really be bringing these feelings, these emotions, these these, I call them unclean spiritual emotions, unclean spiritual feelings. We bring them on ourselves based on you know what we do, what we say. you know we just gotta watch, what we say and do, man, because this is clearly an indication that even david was aware even David was aware of his crookedness bringing, you know, bringing this anxiety and this stress on him. This anxiety, this anxiousness. It says, "For my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my crookedness." He's like blaming it on his crookedness, himself. And this is what we need to start doing, like pointing the finger to ourselves, like whatever we're going through and what we're going through and what why things happen, why we're feeling the way we're feeling, is usually is it ain't usually is 100% based on something we've done. And we can't point the finger like why, you know, and ask the most high why, when we know. Verse 11, I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors, and a dread to my friends. Those who see me outside flee from me. Verse 12, I have been forgotten like someone dead from the heart. I have been like a missile. I have been like a missing vessel. I don't know why I use that terminology. Forgive my language, because yeah, we got some sensitive platforms. So that was a miss. That was That was me misspeaking. Verse 13. For I hear the evil report of many. Fear is from all around. When they take counsel together against me, they plot to take away my life. So this is what he's acknowledging, how he's surrounded by those who dislike him, those who want to do him harm. And this might have been when he was running for his life from Saul. Verse 14, but I have put my trust in you, O Yahuwah. I have said, you are my Elohim. Verse 15, my times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemy and from those who pursue me. Verse 16. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving commitment. Verse 17. Do not let me be ashamed, O Yahuwah, for I have called upon you. Let the wrong be ashamed. Let them be silenced in Sheol. So he's like, let the wrong be ashamed. Let those who, you know, let those who are due their consequence, be ashamed based on what they already do, which is wrong. So he said, let the wrong be ashamed. Verse 18. Let lips of falsehood be still, which speak recklessly against the righteous, which pride and scorn. So he's like, let lips of falsehood that speak falsehood be still. We have a lot of people speaking falsehood to this day. And just like David, we should be asking, like, man, let it be stilled. Which speak recklessly against the righteous with pride and scorn. They speak recklessly against those who follow the instructions of God. You have a lot of folks speaking recklessly against people, who seek the righteousness first, which is the instructions of God. Verse 19, how great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those fearing you, which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you, in the sight of the sons of men. So he's like, how great is your goodness laid up for those who fear him, those who basically hate evil. That's who he's referring to whenever you hear fear of God or fearing him, that's the definition of that is to hate evil. That's what that means. Hate all what the Bible considers evil. Hate all what the writings considers evil. Hate it. And that's you demonstrating, when you hate that, that's you demonstrating the fear of God. The fear of Yah is in you. Verse 20. In the secrecy of your presence, you shall hide them from the plots of man. You shelter them in a booth from the strife of tongues. Verse 21. Blessed be Yahuwah, for he has made marvelous his loving commitment to me in a strong city. Verse 22. And I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. Verse 23. Love Yahuwah, all you his lovingly committed ones. For Yahuwah guards the trustworthy ones and exceedingly repays the doers of pride. Exceedingly repays the doer of pride. He loves the committed. He loves those, who are trustworthy. Like basically those who demonstrate integrity, even though this is an unseen entity, supreme spirit that you obey anyway, that you follow the instructions of anyway. You follow his instructions even though he can't be seen. That's his lovingly committed ones. That's his trustworthy ones. Those who follow his instructions even though they can't see him. Obey his spiritual laws of his spiritual government even though we can't see it. That's the highest form of demonstrating strong belief. That's the highest form of demonstrating, you know, actual faith. That's what the one ancient brother said. Show me your show me your faith, and I'll show you my works. I believe, and this is what he means. Like you, like, all right, yeah, this is how we show our faith through following the instructions of God, which is the works. Doing, treating others how his only begotten son treated others, which is the works. Demonstrating humility, demonstrating this humility, demonstrating, compassion, demonstrating mercy, forgiveness, loving those is hard to who are hard to love. This is this is the works. Following, but you can't do one without the other. You can't do those. You got to do all the works include following the instructions of the Almighty, the Father. The works they include that. So you can't disregard that. Like those are his instructions. The works require you to obey his spiritual government. You know what I mean? You have to and you have to treat others how his only begotten son treated others. Those are all the works. If you don't know them, get to know them. Verse 24, be strong and let him fortify your heart, all you who are waiting for Yahuwah. Be strong, let him fortify your heart. Be strong. You know what I mean? You got to be strong and just let him work his way on you. Like that's submission. Humbling yourself and not, you got to deny your flesh of how it wants to respond. You have to deny your flesh of how it wants to react. You have to deny your flesh of its instinct. You have to deny your flesh of its desires. You have to deny your flesh of its cravings, its temptations. You have to deny it. And this is the only way we can, submit to the spirit, the set apart spirit that he has to offer, the comfort, the comforter that he has to offer, and everything else that comes with that. The the vision, the insight, the spiritual wisdom, knowledge, understanding, the intuition, the foresight, the dreams. Chapter 32 of Psalms chapter 32, verse 1. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. This is David talking this. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. This is David speaking. Verse 2. Blessed is the man to whom Yahuwah imputes no crookedness, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. Spirit. Here we go again, another indication that David was aware of us as spirit beings. David was aware of this. and how it's important that your spirit is should be one who's not being deceitful, you know, is not looking to deceive others. Verse 3. When I kept silent, my bones became old through my groaning all the day. Verse 4. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My sap was turned into the droughts of summer. Verse 5. I acknowledge my sin to you, and my crookedness I did not hide. I have said, I confess my transgressions to Yahuwah, and you forgave the crookedness of my sin. This is David saying this. This is David speaking this. I say it again. This is David. This is David speaking this. He says, I acknowledge my sin to you. Talking to Yah, talking to the Most High. I acknowledge my sin to you, and my crookedness I did not hide. I have said, I confess my transgressions to Yahuwah, and you forgave the crookedness of my sin. This is what he did. He forgave the crookedness. He forgave the crookedness of the sin. So like this is what people consider the Old Testament or whatever. But here we are reading, you know, New Testament, you know, jargon. You know what I mean? Like here we are reading New Testament jargon. And you know, this is what the same the same you know, the same message that the only begotten son, you know, spoke on. This is like the same move that he, you know, this is like the same message that David is on. The same message David is putting out. You know what I mean? Same message. This is just shows you that everyone was in accord. Everyone is on the same channel. Everyone is on the same accord, same page. There's no separation in the Most High, in the spirit of the Most High, the supreme spirit of the Most High, his set apart spirit, and his only begotten Son, and his prophets from of old and new, his kings, and the disciples of his Son, all on the same accord, all on the same page, all on the same thing. It was no different. There was nothing, you know, everybody it's what's wild. Everybody knew the obvious, which is everybody knows the mission, but the people reading these writings today. Everybody inside the scriptures knew it was the same message. It was the same news. It's the same prophecies. It was the same instructions. It was the same everything. Everybody in these writings knew that. It's just the people nowadays that's reading, they're the ones trying to basically divide and say that it's something different, something new, something, well, that was old. That's not done anymore. That's done away with, and this, that, and the third. But yet, if they, this is how you know if they read or not, because if they read, if this is how you know people who says things like this don't read the New or the Old Testament. Because if you read the Old in the New Testament, and these are terminologies that people outside the scriptures came. These are not biblical terminologies. Testament, New Testament, and Old Testament. That's not biblical term. That's not in the Bible. That's not even. These words is not even. These terms is not even in the Bible. It just shows you, the system that was put in to basically, you know, do what it, do the work of the enemy, which is mislead and mislead astray from the truth. Verse 6. Therefore, let every lovingly committed one pray to you while you might be found. Even in a flood of great waters, they would not reach him. So he's like, man, like, while you might be found, let every loving committed one pray to you while they can, because it's obvious everyone is going to be a day where that is this each individual is no longer capable of doing so. Each person is going to have their day, if not all at once. Each one's day is coming, if not all at once. So find them while you can. Find the Most High while you can, while you still have His breath in your lungs, while you still have His breath in your lungs. Verse 7. You are my hiding place. You preserve me from distress. You surround me with songs of deliverance. Verse 8. Let me instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Let me counsel. My eye be on you. So he's not teaching anybody his own way. He's talking about teaching you the instructions, instructing us the instructions of God, teaching us the teachings of God, which later become the teachings of his only begotten Son. The teachings of his only begotten Son, the lessons of his only begotten Son, the examples of his only begotten Son, the demonstrations of his only begotten Son. Let me counsel. My eye be on you. Verse 9. Do not be like the horse, like the mule, with no understanding, with bit and bridle, else they do not come near you. Do not be like the jack behind. This is basically what this is saying. Don't be like a jack behind, like the mule and the horse, with no understanding. Don't be like don't be like that. Be instructed by the instructions of God. Be taught by the teachings of his only begotten Son. Be counseled by the set apart spirit, the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that he spoke through his kings like David, his kings like Solomon. Be counseled by that. Verse 10. Many are the sorrows of the wrong, but as for the one trusting in Yahuwah, loving commitment surrounds him. Many are the sorrows of the wrong. The wrong got a lot going on. They may smile, laugh, and they're only smiling and laughing because they're under the influence. If you notice that people who are doing wrong, they're not sober. People who are doing wrong, who have done wrong, they're not sober. They're under the influence to numb themselves of the guilt, numb themselves of the anxiety, the fear that comes with doing wrong, the fear and anxiety that comes with doing wrong, doing people wrong. Verse 11, be glad in Yahuwah and exalt your righteousness. I'm sorry, be glad in Yahuwah and exult, you righteous, and shout for joy, all you upright in heart. So he's describing folks, you know, who trust in the most high. He's acknowledging them as righteous. And you can only be acknowledged and known as a righteous one if you're following his instructions, guarding his commands, obeying his government, his spiritual government. It's the only way you could be considered righteous. This is the definition of our righteousness is is defined in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 24 to 25. This is how we know what our righteousness is. And the definition of our righteousness is to guard his commands. Guard what he commands, which is following his instructions and obeying his spiritual government. Be glad in Yahuwah and exalt you righteous, and shout for joy, all you upright in heart. Verse 33. Shout for joy in Yahuwah, you righteous. And this is with an exclamation mark. He yelled this. Shout for joy in Yahuwah, you righteous. Like he had to say it twice. He had to say it twice because it's like, man, you know, you have something to be joyful about. Because everyone else is like the walking unalived. Everybody else is walking has been everyone else is walking the world like zombies. And they were walking the world like zombies in the ancient past too. Most people were walking the world like ancient zombies, you know, not following the instructions of God, not acknowledging the creator. So when you're the few who acknowledges him, when you're the few who trust in him, when you're the few who follow his instructions, the few who, obey his government, the few who do their best to follow the examples of his only begotten son, you're you're in a rare group. You're a rare individual. This is why they say few will find it. The road is narrow that leads to life, and few will find it. Praise is fitting for the straight. Verse 2, praise Yahuwah with the lyre. Sing to him with an instrument of 10 strings. Verse 3, sing to him a new song. Play sweetly with a shout of joy. So we see music. We see that it's okay to praise with music. And see that it's okay to praise him with music, to sing to him. Verse 4, for the word of Yahuwah is straight, and all his work are in truth. The word of Yahuwah is straight, and all his work are in truth. It's men who come along and twist it, misread it, misinterpret it. It's men who come along and stretch it, pull it, and crooked it up, dirty it up, muddy it up. For the word of Yah is straight. Like it's not it's not that complicated. It's straight. It's straight to the point, straightforward, pretty straightforward, plain, simple, you know. This is this is the word of Yah. And it's men who come along that overcomplicates it. Say what it doesn't say. Verse 5, loving righteousness and right ruling. The earth is filled with the loving commitment of Yahuwah. Loving righteousness and right ruling. The earth is filled with the loving committed of Yahuwah. So these are the ones loving righteousness, loving to do his, loving to treat people right, loving to follow his instructions, and loving to treat people right, treat people fairly, treat people right, treat people fairly. Verse 6, by the word of Yahuwah the heavens were made, and all their hosts by the spirit of his mouth. Come on, man. Like, this is David. This is David, and this is a clear indication that David was aware of the creation, the creator and the creation of the sky. That's what the heavens are. It says, by the word of Yahuwah, him speaking, he spoke the sky into existence. By the word of Yahuwah, the heavens were made. That's what heavens mean. Heaven means sky. And all their hosts by the spirit of his mouth. Verse 7, gathering the waters of the sea together as a heap. Come on, man. And all their hosts by the spirit of his mouth. So he made all of the hosts, the messengers, the you know, the all spiritual creation created through through the words of his mouth, spoken into existence. Verse 7, gathering the waters of the sea together as a heap, laying up the deep in storehouses. Verse 8, let all the earth fear Yahuwah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. Let it be. Verse 9, for he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood fast. Verse 10, Yahuwah brings the counsel of the nations to nothing, to naught. He thwarts the plans of the people. This is what he do. Any plans, schemes, and plots, and you know, the Most High, he shuts all that down if it's not according to the prophecy. Verse 11: the counsel of Yahuwah stands forever, and plans of his heart to all generation. Verse 12: blessed is the nation whose Elohim is Yahuwah, the people whom he has chosen as his own inheritance. The people who he has chosen as his own inheritance. And it's only the people who acknowledges his only begotten son. These are his people. Not just acknowledging them, but following their instructions, following their examples, demonstration. Verse 13, Yahuwah has looked from the heavens. He has seen all the sons of men. Verse 14, he looked from his dwelling place on all the inhabitants of the earth. Verse 15, he who fashions the hearts of them all, he who understands all their works. The Most High fashioned our hearts. He understands all our works, what we're up to, what we're into, what we like, what we don't like, what we want to do. Verse 16, the sovereign is not saved by the multitude of an army. A mighty man is not delivered by great strength. Verse 17, a horse is a vain means of safety. Neither does it rescue any by its great power. Verse 18, see, the eye of Yahuwah is on those fearing him, on those waiting for his loving commitment. Verse 19, to deliver their being from death and to keep them alive during scarcity of food. Verse 20, our being has longed for Yahuwah, our help and our shield is he. Verse 21, for our heart does rejoice in him, for we have put our trust in his set apart name. Verse 22, let your loving commitment, O Yahuwah, be upon us, even as we wait for you. That was the book of Psalms, chapter 31 to 33. Now we're going to get into the book of Proverbs, chapter 13. The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 1. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, But a scoffer shall not listen to rebuke. Scoffer, one who makes fun of others, mocks others, they're not going to listen to correction. Verse 2, from the fruit of the mouth a man eats the good, but the desire of the treacherous is for violence. So when a man speaks good, he eats good. When a man speaks good, he eats good. And yeah, I just ate I just ate good, so yeah, I'm pretty tired. Really tired. I got what they call the itis right now, but we gonna get through this. It's Shabbat. It's the day of rest, and I can't wait to rest. I can't wait to rest in the rest that we're blessed with every Shabbat. And so yeah, Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I am tired, but we gonna get through this, y'all willing. From the fruit of the mouth a man eats the good, but the desire of the treacherous is for violence. The desire of the treacherous is for violence. That's their desire. We see that as we speak. We see that as we speak. Verse 3, he who watches over his mouth guards his being, but he who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. He who opens his mouth, he who opens his mouth, he who watches over his mouth guards his being, but he who opens it wide, his lips comes to ruin. So you watch your mouth, you watch your spirit. You watch your spirit when you watch what you say. But when you open your mouth to everything, about everything, saying anything, it comes to ruin. Verse 4, the being of the lazy one craves but has not, while the being of the hard worker are enriched. Those who work hard, they they have what they need. But those who are, choose not to work, they're the ones craving all day. They're the ones, wishing they had, you know? They're the ones wishing that they had. They're the ones window shopping and wondering, they're wonder shopping. Verse 5, a righteous one hates a lying word, but a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. Righteous one is hates a lying word because a righteous one follows the instructions of God. And one of the instructions of God is to not false witness. Not false witness. So this is why the righteous one watches over him who this is why the righteous one hates a lying word. But a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. Verse 6, righteousness watches over him who is perfect in the way, but the wrongness overthrows the sinner. With the wrong that the sinner does, the wrong that one does, it's going to overthrow them eventually. The wrong that they have done is going to eventually catch up with them. And this is what this is saying. But a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. Sorry, but the wrongness overthrows the sinner. This is what that said. But the wrongness overthrows the sinner. But on the other hand, righteousness watches over him who is perfect in the way. Who is perfect in the way. Like righteousness watches over him because him doing right, doing people right, doing what is right in the eyes of the Most High, which is following the Most High's instructions, this is what watches over him. This is you can't expect you can't expect the Most High to watch over you if you're not following His instructions. You just can't. You gotta give some form of effort. You gotta meet him. You gotta meet him at some point. Meet him somewhere. Give him something. Verse 7, there is one who makes himself rich, yet has none at all, and one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. How that happen? How that happen? Like one who makes himself poor, yet has none at all. I'm sorry, one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. But there is one who makes himself rich, yet has none at all, because the one who makes himself rich has nothing at all. He has no spiritual wealth. You have nothing saved up in you have the treasure where the Messiah said, lay up treasure in the heavens. Don't lay up treasure on earth. This is what he's referring to. What comes what comes to you when you do your deeds for those in secret, for the less fortunate in the secret, praying in secret, fasting in secret. You have spiritual wealth and you have world wealth. The world wealth is just as good as having nothing because it can be taken away in an instant. In an instant. The moth and the thief break in and steal. The moth and the rust destroys it. The thief break in and steal it. Thief can't break in and steal spiritual wealth. And this is Solomon speaking this. This is the Most High speaking through Solomon. Had to be. Verse 8, the ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. Verse 9, the light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wrong is put out. The light of the righteous rejoices, always in the best spirits, always in the best mood. On the other hand, the lamp of the wrong is put out. Eventually, they'll be put out of, yeah, you know the rest. Verse 10, by pride comes only strife, but wisdom is with those who take advice. Wisdom is with those who take advice. The pride comes only strife. By pride comes only strife. By pride comes only strife. Like those who can't put their pride aside. They they don't want help. They don't want to ask for help. They don't want to accept counsel. They don't want to accept when they were wrong. but wisdom is with those who take advice. Verse 11, wealth from vanity diminishes, but he who gathers by hand increases. So wealth from vanity diminishes. It's like you was seeking self pleasure, self validation. Wealth from vanities diminishes, but he who gathers by hand increases. Really putting in work. The ancient work is the gardening, crops. Verse 12. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick, but a longing come true is a tree of life. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick. To this, like we know, we can see that in what we waiting for in the mail, whether it's a check, some money, you know. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick. An answer from somebody, an answer from some company, or doctor. No one wants to wait. Verse 13, he who despises the word is destroyed, but he who fears the command is rewarded. He who fears the command is rewarded. This is the words of Solomon. The Most High spoke through Solomon. It's the same thing his only begotten son was speaking in the book of Matthew. It's how you know there is the same spirit, the same Ruach. Verse 14, the Torah of the wise is a foundation of life, turning one away from the snares of being unalive. It's the Torah, is the instructions of God. That's what Torah is. The instructions of God. The instructions of God is a foundation of life. Verse 15, good understanding gains favor, but the way of the treacherous is hard. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the treacherous is hard. Verse 16, everyone with insight acts with knowledge, but a fool spreads folly. So where does insight come? Insight comes when you follow his instruction. Insight comes with the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Insight comes when you obey his spiritual government. Insight comes when you follow the demonstrations and the examples of his only begotten son. Every 1 second. Verse 15, good understanding gains favor, but the way of the treacherous is hard. Verse 16, everyone with insight acts with knowledge, but a fool spreads folly. Verse 17, a messenger that is wrong falls into evil, but a trustworthy envoy is a healing. So anyone, just delivering the wrong message, that's yeah, that's bringing That's bringing evil on yourself. Says a messenger that is wrong falls into evil, but a trustworthy envoy is a healing. Verse 18, poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. Poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. But he who heeds reproof is esteemed. So poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. You ignoring discipline, you most likely are experiencing poverty and shame and looking forward to experiencing more poverty and shame if you don't repent soon. Verse 10, he who walks with the wise, I'm sorry. Verse 19, a desire accomplished is sweet to the being, but to turn away from evil is an abomination to fools. How is that an abomination to fools to turn away from evil, man? You know how wicked and foolish you have to be to to look at to look at all that is done and look at all that you do and never think anything of it. Never consider how it looks or appears to the Most High. I know I have many times. Verse 20, he who walks with the wise shall be wise, but the companion of fools suffer evil. Companions of fools suffer evil. Like, stay away from people who make foolish decisions. Verse 8, I'm sorry, verse 20. He who walks with the wise shall be wise, but the companion of fools suffers evil. Verse 21, evil pursues sinners, but good is repaid to the righteous. Evil pursues sinners. Evil pursues sinners. This is another clear indication that you get what you put out. So if you putting out evil, evil will pursue you. Evil will pursue you. Verse 22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. And a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's what we're here for, man. Not to show it off, to leave an inheritance. Verse 27, much food is the tillable ground of the poor. Much food is in the tillable ground of the poor, but lack of right ruling sweeps it away. Yeah, that's what happens when the Most High, you know, has decided what's to come on certain people in certain places. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him seeks him with discipline. Seek your children with discipline so that they'll respect you and understand later, like, yeah, I was tripping. Verse 25. The righteous eats to satisfy of his being. The righteous eats to the satisfying of his being, but the stomach of the wrong is lacking. Stomach of the wrong is lacking. You doing people wrong. You doing what is wrong. You saying what is wrong. You hungry out there, man. I know you is. You hungry because you say what is wrong. You do what is wrong. You treat others wrong. On the other hand, the righteous eats to the satisfying of his being. Righteous will always have the one who follows the instructions of God will always have something to eat. That completes chapter 13 of Proverbs. We're going to move into the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. For every matter there is an appointed time, even a time for every pursuit under the heavens. Verse 2. A man to be born, and a time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to unalive, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. Time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones, and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. Verse 6. A time to seek, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. Verse 7. A time to tear, and a time to sow. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. Verse 8. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for battle, and a time for peace. Verse 9. What does the worker gain from his toil? Good question. Verse 10. I have seen the task Elohim has made to the sons of men to be humbled by it. All all the wildest things that comes to the minds of you know of men, it's all put there for you to try to carry it out and be humbled by it and make yourself a testimony. Verse verse 11. He has made it all beautiful in its time. Even in ages he has put in their hearts, except that one finds out the way. I'm sorry. Even the ages he has put in their hearts, except that no one finds out the work that Elohim does from the beginning to end. No one knows this. No one knows the work of the Most High from the beginning to the end. You exhaust yourself trying to discover, trying to unlock it, trying to decipher and explain it to others. It's not that hard, but you have people who are doing both. You can't convince them to do otherwise. Verse 14, I know that whatever Elohim does is forever. There is no adding to it, and there is no adding from it. Elohim does it. That men should fear before him. Elohim does it that men shall fear before him. That's why he does it. So you can hate evil. So we can hate evil. Not to be scared of him, but more to be on the same page as him. To your enemies is his enemies is your enemies, and our only enemies is the enemy himself in the ancient knowledge of evil. Verse 15, whatever is has already been, and whatever shall be has been before. But Elohim seeks out what has been pursued. Verse 16, then again I saw under the sun in the place of right ruling, wrongness was there. So in the place of right ruling, wrongness was there. Do we not see that to this day? Verse, wait, and in the place of righteousness, wrongness was there. Yeah, you have a lot of places where there should be, righteous folks, but is, you got the wrong people there. A lot of positions in the world, a lot of, you know, the wrong people are there. Verse 18, I said in my heart concerning the matter of the sons of men, Elohim selects them so as to see that they themselves are beasts. Verse 19, for the events of sons of men is also the events of beasts. One event befalls him as one as one dies, so dies the other. Indeed, they all have one breath. Man has no advantage over breasts. I'm sorry, over beasts. Forgive me. Man has no advantage over beasts, for all is futile. So Solomon is basically breaking down how man there's a there the everyone they're going to have their time, to transition into the spirit realm, to go back to return to the creator who created it. But you won't have those waiting, you know, and who knows where. But we do know that the writings say there will be a lake, a lake of fire. Verse 21, who knows the spirit of the sons of men, which goes upward and down, and spirit of the beast, which goes down to earth. Who knows? Who knows the supreme spirit of this? Who knows, first of all, who knows the spirit of the sons of men? No one knows the true spirit of this. Verse 32, so I saw the man could do no better but to rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who would bring him to see what shall be after him? Who will bring anyone to see what shall come after them? Who? Who has the ability to do that? So the best we can do is rejoice in our own work and do no better. It says, and rejoice in our own work, for that is the most highest portion. That is our portion. That is the portion we're given by being allowed to work, being allowed to work what we want, and especially if we enjoy our job, our occupation. If we enjoy our work, that's the blessing. That's the portion. For who would bring him to see what shall be after him? It's nothing better to do in this world but to love what you do for living. Love what you do for income. Love what you do to be able to eat, hydrate, clothe yourself, and keep a roof over your head. You want to love what you do in order, so you, while you're, getting to it and getting and coming up with the means to do whatever it is that you need, and like to do. And that completes the chapter. That completes the chapter of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. That completes the Shabbat reading for tonight that I should have done last night, but praise Yah, we were able to catch up today and get it out the way. Yah willing, we able to, pick up in the book of Genesis tomorrow early, and then into the book of Isaiah early. Yah willing, and may Yah willing, we be blessed with the time to cover the teachings, you know, the teachings of the only begotten Son. But till next time, I'm going to bless us out according to the blessing that was given to Moses in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, 23 to 26. Receive your blessing. May Yahuwah bless you, barak you, and guard you. May Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahuwah lift up his face and shine upon you and give you peace. Peace, love, Shabbat Shalom. Till next time, tomorrow, Yah willing, early. Peace, love, Shabbat Shalom. Till next time, tomorrow, early. Shabbat Shalom, peace, and love. Let's get this rest. I know I am. Rest up, brothers and sisters.